Joe! Joe の野郎。鬼姫が完全にぶっ潰しやがって。
Oh my god. Hello everyone, welcome to Joe Consumes Cinema. I'm your host, Dangpei's Master Plan. Today we have Ashita no Joe, episode 17. So I've given it a little bit of a break, did the first 16 episodes in pretty short order, took a decent sized break, and now I'm coming back to it. So I've had a little bit of time to think about, what happened last episode. Dangpei has been promoted to the boxing coach of the security facility, and he has a lot more, potential students to look out for and, teach. So Joe is no longer his only consideration. And, he gave his word, and what we know about Dangpei is, he really tries to keep his word. And yeah, he found a potential student already in, I believe his name is Oyama. The runt who picked a fight with that bigger guy and actually did pretty well despite, the size advantage of 3-1 or maybe even a little bit more. So yeah, Dangpei has been training him. He did give Joe one assignment, something to improve wrist strength and I guess to improve the snap on his punches. He had to dig a straight line with that farm implement, whatever it was, all the way to the fence, really long distance, a lot of strain on the wrist, and he did it. But then he went back up to Dangpei saying, what's next? And he basically just blew him off. And the conclusion I've come to is that Dangpei is done with, any resistance from Joe. Dangpei is the expert. Dangpei has all the experience. Joe is, a novice. There's a lot of potential, but he's arrogant and he needs to just, shut up and listen so he can actually learn something. Joe has relied exclusively on his own talent, and there's a lot of potential there, but it's not enough on its own. He really needs the discipline side of things. That's the thing he's really, really lacking. And it just comes with an entire, attitude change and just a completely different worldview and outlook. And that's the thing that I think Dangpei is really trying to hammer home for Joe, that Joe needs Dangpei much more than Dangpei needs Joe. And it's time he, recognized that reality and started being grateful for what Dangpei is offering here. The only other possibility, as far as I can tell, is maybe by forcing Joe into a situation where he's pretty much on his own. He has to, for once, come up with a solution to this problem completely alone. That would be the other type of thinking I would go with, but I think the first one is probably more accurate. But yeah, the only way to find out is to find out. We're really close to the rematch, and Rikishi has been training his ass off. Joe has been doing what Dangpei told him so far, but I don't think it's quite enough on its own. I think something else has to give where, Joe either has a fit or something and, Dangpei finally responds to him, or he just accepts what he's been told and uses what he's learned, and, maybe that is enough. I honestly don't know. But I am very eager to get to this one, but before we begin, as always, remember to blank, blank, and blank. Still very much a small channel, so every like, comment, share, subscribe that we can get really helps out. Really appreciate it. Patreon link down below. With that, let's get right to it. 顔目が開け叩け明日はきっと明日はどっちだ Alone in the middle of a storm.
あの青山がね、へえ、そいつはジョーがかわいそうだぜ。なあ、めっかしの親父がおめえに愛想づかしだって。そんなことよりおめえさん、我が第6両の代表選手だろ。そんなカビくせえ布団の中にいると腕がなまるぜ。
Well, you told him to stay sharp, so here we go. Oh gosh.
練習しねえと俺の腕がなまるだと悪いかな。俺のパンチは練習しねえとなまるほど安っぽくねえんだよ。
Running in the rain.
あのめっかちの親父だいぶ熱心のようですがね。
They got a decent gym for a prison.
そうだそうだ。もう少し顎引いて顎。いいぞ青山君。
He's getting way better.
おっさん。
ああ、ダメダメ、それじゃいかん。
おっさん。一体どうしたってんだよおっさん。ほら青山君。
あ、はい。
何しとるか練習せんか練習。 よしてくれよっつぁん。青山青山ってまるでこの俺はママっ子扱いじゃないか。
ほらほらほら、もっと足使ってほしい。
おっつぁん、俺は見栄も意地もせたよ。この通りだ。俺にコーチしてくれ。何でも言う通りにする。お願いだおっつぁん。早く次を教えてくれ。頼む。俺は惚れちまったんだよ、ケントってやつに。そして今度という今度は絶対に力士に負けたくねえんだ。
何度も言うようだが、わしは今青山君のコーチで手一杯なんだ。邪魔しないでくれんかな。
That was unexpectedly cold.
主に見捨てられた野良犬は哀れなりか。
Nishi's training too, it looks like.
お前はわしとボクシングをやるんだ。
Yeah, it's ironic. After all they've been through, Joe was always the one that didn't want to give it a go, and now that he finally does, Dankpei's giving him the cold shoulder.
こうなったら意地でもダンペ親父のコーチは受けないぞ。頼まれたって受けてやるもんか。
おっちゃんとジョー、あの二人の間に何かが起こった。何か。
沼田のやつがズタボロになっちまったんだい。急いで手当てしねえと。教官先生来てください。
みんなズタボロなんだか。
What the hell? He did it?
対抗試合に出る選手の予選をやったんです。僕何としても選手になりたかったんで、それで沼田さんに頼んで相手をしてもらって、僕どうしよう。
That training is really paying off. He seems to have done it on instinct too. Didn't have to think about it, just reacted.
青山が一体何をやらかしたんだい。誰か見たやつはいねえのか。お構いなく行くぜ。
ああ、決まった。さすが沼田だ。
あれ青病炭のやつよけんの前もんだ。ふん、かな野郎。
He's already winded. Just a bunch of arm punches.
打たれるでもね、くにゃらくにゃらプリンプリン逃げ回ってよ。
そんな追っかけっこより将棋の方が面白いってんでさ、再び名人戦に取り掛かったってわけですよ。
とにかくしばらく経ってふと気がつくと沼田が血だらけになってぶったるったんだ。そばに青山が幽霊みたいに突っ立っててよ。
He probably overcommitted and got countered. That's what I would guess. And at that point, he was so exhausted too that, you know, one knockdown, he's not getting up.
青山に聞けだ。くだらねえ。
He's gonna have to ask him at some point.
青山、沼田に何をやったんだい。何をやったのかと聞いてるんだぜ。
前にも言った通り、段平先生に教わったことを実行しただけですよ。
だから段平から何を教わったのかと聞いてるんだい。どんな戦法を教わったんだい、この野郎。
お断りしておきますが、僕第7寮の代表選手としてリングで矢吹さんと一戦交えることになるかもしれない。そんな僕に戦法を教えろなんて、じゃんけんをする前に相手にお前何出すって聞くようなもんじゃありません。
Yeah, it's a good point. He can't talk about it.
矢吹さんは、あなたは段平先生が僕にばかりコーチするから面白くないんです。つまり矢吹さんが僕を憎み当たり散らすんなら、せめてそれはリングの上だけにしてくれと言ってるんだ。
リングの上なら俺の相手になってやるってのかい。そんじゃリングの上だけなんて固いこと言わずに、今ここで相手になってもらおうじゃねえか。
それまで。勝負あった感じだな。矢吹よ、恥知らずにも牙をむき出して相手が一番大事にしているものを強奪する気らしい。お前の先生が青山に仕込んだものが何か、俺には大抵察しがつく。俺にとっちゃ大したことじゃないが、お前にはかなりどえらい代物だろうぜ。だがどんなことがあってももう一度俺と戦えるように祈っているぜ。青山に負けて番狂わせなんぞにならねえようにくれぐれも頼むぜ。
Okay, I took some time just to gather my thoughts. So another really interesting episode. Dangpei continues to give Joe the cold shoulder. It gets to the point where Joe, out of desperation, literally goes up to him, bows, and, outright begs him for, assistance. Dangpei continues to just, keep his distance from him. Anytime he tries to get close to him again, him and Oyama, might be saying that name wrong, but Aoyama, Aoyama? Maybe that's it. Yeah, that kid just has been by his side, thick as thieves, and we see throughout the course of the episode that they're literally running in the rain. They have a gym now at the prison, which is pretty cool. Looks decent, all things considered. Aoyama is basically attached at Dangpei's hip now and, does basically anything he says. And that's a really good thing for him, not so much for Joe. Very upset with Dangpei, has vowed that even if he begs him to come back and be his trainer, he's not going to let him, which I don't think. There is a reasoning behind everything that is happening right now, and at some point, Dangpei is going to become Joe's coach. I don't know quite exactly what it is. I had an idea, that I talked about beforehand, but I don't know. I'm kind of questioning it. We saw that Aoyama's training is really paying off, despite the fact that he's, outsized by these guys like 2, sometimes even more. It doesn't matter. He's getting the basics down, and I think the thing that he may have taught Dangpei more than anything is just to be patient. That guy that challenged him for, his spot to represent the different cell block, the one that Aoyama wants to represent, was basically swinging at air for, minutes at a time before finally getting winded, and then, overcommitted again, but did so probably leaving a wide opening, and then that's when Aoyama countered his ass. So that's most likely what, put the guy down on the mat and, left him all bloody and unconscious. Rikishi talked about it when Joe tried to confront Aoyama about how he's pretty sure he knows what Dangpei taught him, and he's not that worried about it, but it should be a big problem for Joe. And based on that, I think it may just be to just be patient and let your opponent wear themselves down by over-punching and, not landing anything on you. And then once they're tired, there are bigger and bigger openings because they get sloppy. That's your chance to land something, considerable on them. But yeah, another really good episode, and honestly, I just want to get right to the next one. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got. As always, thanks for watching, and peace.